The stellar finale of the main storyline, Pokémon Horizons, has been building up to for over 3 years just aired, episode 136, and I quite literally have more to say than I think I've ever had before. This episode gave us everything. It made me cry, it balanced horrifying and heartfelt moments perfectly, it left me stunned with its maturity, it just went above and beyond to deliver an ending this series deserved. I really cannot wait any longer to discuss it all, so like and subscribe if you enjoy, and now let's dive into it. So our heroes are facing the Laquium core, and then Hamber arrives, attacking the core with Diana to buy time, and seeing that perseverance, the never giving up, persuades the Explorers trio to dive in too, attacking the core. Roy then reaches out to Rayquaza, asking him to lend his strength to fulfill their promise to Lucius. And dude, Lucius's spirit appears, putting his hand on Roy's shoulder, leading to Roy shockingly mega evolving Rayquaza. I cannot criticize this man, even if I see other people doing it. Roy earned the meteorite and his bond with Rayquaza, which set up the Mega Evolution, and seeing Lucius again approving of Roy as Rayquaza's true partner, that got me more emotional than I ever expected. And the emotions don't stop there, because then Amethio and Zygarde connect too, with Gibeon's spirit reaching out, allowing Amethio to Mega Evolve Zygarde. Okay, so I was ready to criticize this, because unlike Roy's Mega Evolution, this had like no setup in the previous episodes whatsoever. We didn't see Amethio bonding with Zygarde, we didn't see him acquiring a keystone or anything, so I do still think it's kind of goofy and could have been executed better. However, I recently found out that in the games, Mega Zygarde's Pokedex entry makes it clear that his Mega Evolution is different to the others. You see, it emphasizes that Zygarde Mega evolves in response to people's emotions during an unprecedented crisis, and that fits what's going on here perfectly, so I don't really mind it as much as I thought I would, even if a bit more setup would have been great. By the way, imagine showing someone this image before Horizons started. We would have never believed it, dude. 2 shiny Mega Evolved box art legendaries? Right, that's insane even after all this time. So as the Laquium core blooms even greater, our heroes and their Pokemon all give everything they have to continue battling it, and that buys Mega Zygarde the time to use Nihil Light, smashing open the core. Then Skeledurge's Torch Song fuses with Mega Rayquaza's Dragon Ascent and smashes a hole right into the core. Dude, I absolutely love that the writers allowed Skeledurge to be a part of this moment. Thinking of little Roy and little Fuecoco at the start of Horizons, dreaming of Rayquaza, and now seeing them on such a level that they can combo a move with it, it's just so crazy to me. Now look, I do have criticisms of Roy's character post-time skip like a lot of you do, but for me in this moment I can push all of that aside because I'm seeing pre-time skip Roy, pre-time skip Fuecoco. They're who I'm seeing right now in this moment, and I feel like a proud father. So the core unleashes one final defensive attack, trying to infect all of our heroes with Laquium, and that's horrifying because we know Laquium works stronger on Pokemon who are more exhausted, like all of our heroes are right now. But then Meowscarada manages to overcome it, her bond with Liko stronger than anything else. Another display of strong bonds always being the antithesis to Laquium. It's beautiful, man. Meowscarada proved that here. And then she manages to get through to all of the others, freeing them from the Laquium. So Pagogo launches up, and dude, I had tears in my eyes when Ristal's spirit appeared to support Liko. Quick side note, Lucius, Ristal and Gibeon are still my favourite Horizons characters by far. They're probably my favourite anipoke characters ever, to be honest. I just feel such an emotional connection to them, so seeing all 3 of their spirits here nearly had me crying, man. It's so beautiful seeing the OG 3 Explorers living on through Liko, Roy and Amethio, their successors. I can't put into words how much that made me feel. So Pagogo transforms, terrestrializing the entire Terra team, and with all of their power combined, they begin to erase the Laquium core. But as Pagogo is doing its duty, Spinel appears from the remains of the crystals. That's right folks, somehow Spinel returned. He isn't dead. Umbreon immediately wakes up and runs to Spinel's side to check he's okay, and man, this little Pokemon is way too good for Spinel because Spinel still doesn't care about Umbreon. He's more focused on breaking down over the Laquium being erased. I have never wanted to punch someone so bad in my life. Umbreon is horrified by this, and then Spinel somehow stoops even lower, bruh. He grabs one of the final Laquium crystals and he throws it to Umbreon. He demands that Umbreon fights for him. Umbreon is disgusted, refusing to do it, and I genuinely thought Spinel couldn't get any worse than everything he's already done, but he's about to prove us wrong again, because Spinel straight up goes against Umbreon's will and forcefully infects it with the Laquium, bro. Oh my god. I am gobsmacked by this. Spinel is the most evil Pokemon villain we've ever had. Just terrible in every way imaginable on a world-ending scale and on a personal level. Even after everything, he's still abusing his Pokemon because he can't let go of the Laquium, he can't let go of his pride, of the power. So Umbreon is infected and begins losing her mind from the Laquium, and Liko knows this is her time to shine, to prove Spinel wrong once and for all. A final battle of ideals. Liko's shining protagonist moment. God bless the writers for letting this be Liko's battle above all. I have so much to say about this battle, but I'll save it all until afterwards. Umbreon charges in to attack, but Meowscarada easily counters it with quick attack, and then Meowscarada's acrobatics smashes through Umbreon's reflect before overwhelming it with Flower Trick. Spinel realizes he's cooked and he begins losing his mind even more, confused how the Laquium isn't making him win. So that's when Liko begins her big protagonist speech. She emphasizes that her bond with Meowscarada is the reason why he can't win. Spinel refuses to believe those bonds exist, but Liko knows they exist even if she can't see them, and it's because being with Pokemon allowed her to take her first steps on her journey. Her bond with them is all powerful, all pure, all good. She loves Pokemon more than words can describe, and that's a treasure, the most important, precious treasure in the entire world. Spinel is horrified as Liko turns it around on him, saying that she knows he loves Umbreon deep down, because, well, Umbreon loves him. Umbreon's feelings for Spinel despite everything is all the proof she needs of that. Dude, I actually love that Liko is using Umbreon's feelings and his bond with Spinel to dismantle Spinel's entire ideology. Understanding that and using that really ties into Liko's dream to understand Pokemon's feelings, because she proved that here with Umbreon in a way that Spinel cannot deny. Spinel then thinks back to his childhood, how his Eevee was his best friend and how that friendship led to her evolving. Finally dude, Spinel flashbacks. This was so special seeing Spinel back when he had an awe and a love for Pokemon. It really does go to show how far he's fallen, how much of a tragedy it is. I will say that I still wish we found out why Spinel changed, why he stopped valuing bonds, because that's just not explained in this episode, so it does still feel like Spinel's entire motivation isn't fully explored, unfortunately. But hey, this flashback was still awesome, man. But even though Spinel is clearly touched and emotional thinking of his Umbreon's history with him, he's just so lost in his delusions of grandeur and his hatred for Liko that he refuses to accept it. He's still fighting, so Umbreon unleashes an unstoppable snarl, but Liko and Meowscarada put everything into one final magical leaf. They defeat Umbreon and win the battle, win the war. Okay, so this entire sequence was absolutely peak overall. It wasn't a long battle, but it didn't need to be a long one, dude. It was just about the ideals of Liko and Spinel, and Liko proved herself to be the winner. The animation was gorgeous, some of the best we've had in so long, and it really felt as impactful and emotionally powerful as it should have felt. And something I absolutely adore is that Meowscarada ended the main storyline of Horizons with Magical Leaf, the spiritual successor to Leafage, which was how she started the storyline of Horizons. What a fantastic parallel, a full circle moment, you know? Also, I've got to mention how Liko used all 4 of Meowscarada's moves one time each in this battle, because that felt intentional to me. Those 4 moves are a direct product of Meowscarada's strong bond with Liko, so using all 4 of them here to win meant Liko truly did succeed here because of her bond with Meowscarada. It's incredibly subtle storytelling, I love it. So Pagogo finally erases the Laquium forever, hugging Liko tightly afterwards, finally achieving what 100 years has built up to. I'm so proud of him, and I can't believe this storyline has finally concluded after 3 years of build-up, after 3 years of watching it. It's making me kind of emotional, man. And dude, oh my god, I cannot put into words how truly phenomenal the next scene is. I genuinely don't think my explanation will do it any justice, because it was just that good, that shocking. Spinel has lost everything, and by losing everything, it's like something flickers in his brain. He sees his Umbreon and he remembers the bond they had. After losing everything he's worked towards, he knows that Umbreon is all he has left. But then as Spinel steps towards Umbreon, Umbreon cowers away. It looks fearful and, you know, apprehensive, and Spinel notices this, but he's desperate, he can't lose the only thing he has left in the world. So in the most human moment we've ever seen from Spinel, he reaches out to Umbreon, thanking it for all of its hard work being by his side, and then he tries to return her to her Pokeball. Okay, now let me say, I was about to throw hands if this scene went the way the anime always goes, with the villain being redeemed, their Pokemon forgiven them, because Spinel is just too evil for that, man. After everything, that would be such a cop-out. But the Pokemon anime writers here, they genuinely left me speechless, dude. They shocked everyone. Cause Umbreon smashes the Pokeball out of Spinel's hand, breaking it and releasing herself as his Pokemon, abandoning him. After everything, she knows that she deserves better than Spinel being her trainer. She knows that he can't just wiggle out of what he did to her, what he did to the world. Spinel is horrified, begging her not to go, but Umbreon doesn't look back. She leaves Spinel behind and goes into the wild to start a new life away from that monster. I genuinely have no words for what we just witnessed. This was probably the greatest moment in Horizons, in my opinion. One of the most mature storytelling moments I can think of in 28 years of anipoke. The writers could have so easily chickened out and made Umbreon stick with Spinel and begin his redemption, but they didn't. They committed more than I ever imagined. Spinel losing his power, losing his life's work, losing the Laquium wasn't enough, so they made him lose the only thing he had left, his partner, in such a brutal, heartbreaking, devastating manner too. I seriously cannot commend these writers enough. They committed to Spinel losing everything after all of the evil he's done. They wrote Umbreon here as her own individual person, her own character. She's not just Spinel's Pokemon. And this taught Spinel the biggest lesson of all, because he looks devastated, like he finally realizes what he did wrong, like he finally has regret for how he's acted. And it's not redemption, it's the consequences of his own actions. I cannot believe how masterfully the writers made this happen. This truly elevated the episode and Spinel's character to a new level. I genuinely cannot emphasize that enough, dude, and the way it paralleled Zygarde abandoning Gibeon a year ago in the same context, the way it proved Spinel didn't learn his lesson from Gibeon, what a masterpiece. So Hamba then takes control of the explorers, leading them for good, while our heroes celebrate Laqua finally being liberated and safe. Then as the sun sets that night, the adult crew members arrive, while the wild Pokemon begin returning to the paradise, including our goat Bidoof from a year ago. Let's go, dude! But unfortunately, Laqua is kind of damaged and devastated by everything that happened, so the Pokemon from 100 years ago have a discussion, and Liko, teary-eyed, comes to the realization of what this means. Pagogo, Zygarde and the 6 heroes want to stay here in Laqua to reconstruct, revive and protect the paradise for the future of the world, for the Pokemon who live here. Liko is obviously so emotional, but she fully understands. She just wants to support Pagogo in whatever he wants to do. So Pagogo, Zygarde and the 6 heroes are being released. Liko thanks Pagogo from the bottom of her heart for everything, for being by her side for this entire journey, for helping them save Laqua, save the world, and of course Amethio and Roy respect and understand Zygarde and Rayquaza's decisions too. So then all of our heroes begin bidding farewell to Pagogo, with Liko promising she'll come visit it sometime in the future. Dude, Liko releasing Pagogo got me so emotional. It makes perfect sense from a storytelling perspective for the 6 heroes and Pagogo to stay here, because protecting Laqua has always been their life, their dream, you know, and now they can do that forever. It also pays off the setup from a year ago where Liko thought about what Pagogo would do at the end of their journey, whether their paths would part ways. Plus, of course, it stops our heroes from feeling too overpowered in future arcs, having legendary Pokemon who can Mega Evolve and everything. But man, I can't lie and say that I'm not devastated to see it happening still. Liko's bond with Pagogo is what this entire storyline has ridden on. I can't stop thinking about when I made my first ever Pokémon Horizons review video for episode 1 and 2 3 years ago. At that time, I was really struggling on a personal level, going through a dark time because of what happened to my channel back then. And seeing the reveal of Pagogo, this mysterious new Pokemon, Liko meeting it, protecting it, the pendant, that just enchanted me. It left me in awe. It felt so fantastical, you know? That excitement was what kept me going and making videos when times were tough. So now, seeing Pagogo being released after all this time, after 3 years, I can't lie, I did cry, man. I nearly have tears in my eyes now even talking about it. This is the end of an era, and how lucky we are to have witnessed one this special. I do kinda wish there was more of a send-off between Roy and Rayquaza. That felt a little bit brushed over, especially when Rayquaza was like Roy's entire dream and storyline and he worked so hard for it. But I do understand why Pagogo was the focus here, because Pagogo is Pokémon Horizons. So our heroes leave Laqua while Pagogo and the 6 heroes continue to protect the paradise alongside the spirits of Lucius, Ristal and Gibeon. Dude, here comes the tears again. What a beautiful shot, what a perfect way to send off these characters, man. I'm so glad they've found peace after all this time, you know? The entire dream of the OG explorers 100 years ago was to reach Laqua, and now they can rest there as spirits eternally in peace alongside their Pokemon. It's just so beautiful to think about, it makes me so emotional. So after all of that, we get an epilogue style compilation of what happened afterwards, and we start with this idiot trainer who I never wanted to see again, because he was on my most hated list. He betrayed his dash bund, if you remember. Now of course, I still hate him for his behaviour, but this is a good sign of things to come in the Pokemon world, because he finds his Dash Bund in the wild and apologises, the two of them reconnecting. Basically the truth of the Horizon Volt Tacklers is being broadcasted worldwide, finally revealing their innocence and how they saved Laquium and the entire world. The Mighty G even has a renewed fanbase too, which is so funny. Perrin and Wyatt's magazine helps spread the truth further, while these two streamers from Mega Voltage do the same too. And man, seeing the two of them making their streaming dreams come true while also making up for the bad they did is such a perfect example of setup and payoff. Really great writing there, man. I love that Horizons is bringing back all of these past minor characters to show them helping to ban the strong spheres, to act against it. And soon as public knowledge that Spinel was evil, that he was the root cause of everything, that he twisted Exceed, finally the world turns against Spinel, and Amethio's dad, as the new president of Exceed, apologises for not doing more, and he promises to do better for the world in the future, that he'll keep strong spheres banned forever and more. We even see that Freed, Amethio, Zerk and Onya work at Exceed again now, wanting to help the cause, and what a squad that is, dude. It makes a lot of sense for all of them to be part of Exceed now. It's a perfect endgame for them, helping Exceed as a company to right its own wrongs. Amethio even wants to rekindle with his dad on a personal level. Meanwhile, Diana and Hamber are living their best life, and they should just get together really. They'd be the best elderly couple of all time. And Coral and Sidian are celebrities, while Chaucer's school is being rebuilt. I do kinda think these three got off the hook a little too easily for what they did, but they did help save the world at the end of the day. So as long as they promise to do good from now on, then I'm happy for them, you know? Then the episode ended with something that elevated it even higher somehow, if that was even possible. We see Spinel's Umbreon sneaking into a high-security prison, and it's revealed that Spinel is an inmate there, dude. Dude, Spinel didn't only lose everything, but he also got sentenced to prison like he deserves. God bless these writers for not chickening out. This is how you conclude a villain like Spinel, man. This is a masterclass of how to do it. But the thing is, with Umbreon checking in on him every now and then, we get the hint that maybe someday Umbreon could reconnect with Spinel, and that doesn't undo the consequences, it doesn't let Spinel off the hook, it doesn't redeem him, but it does emphasize the entire message of Pokemon Horizons in one grand final way. The bonds between trainers and Pokemon are everything. They're the most powerful thing, the most precious treasure in the world, because even after all of the horrors Spinel committed, even though Umbreon knows she deserves better and she abandoned him, she still can't help but check up on Spinel every now and then. That's beautiful, man. It's genuinely beautiful. That's the message of the entire series, and a perfect note to end Spinel's character on. Umbreon took away from the most harmful, toxic trainer of all time, and Spinel lost everything. But deep down, Umbreon knows that maybe someday, in the far distant future, she could reconnect with Spinel. There's still that tiny, tiny, tiny glimmer of hope. How utterly perfect, man. So the Horizon Volt Tacklers set off to New Horizons after finally achieving world peace. Their future's open to enjoy life like they deserve after everything they've been through. I genuinely do not know where to even start with talking about my feelings on this episode, but before I start spieling about everything it made me feel, let me just really quickly say the only 3 little criticisms I had of the episode, just to get them out of the way, you know? I do still wish we found out why Spinel became evil, because that's still a mystery. It holds his character back from feeling fully explored, you know? I also still wish the bond between Amethio and Zygarde was better built up before the arc, and that maybe Roy and Rayquaza had more of a farewell, and I think Chaos, Coral and Sidian maybe could have been explored more in the epilogue in terms of righting their wrongs, you know? Outside of those 3 things, I don't have a single bad word to say about this finale. In my opinion, this was one of the greatest finales to any Pokemon media I've ever witnessed. They covered everything, dude, everything. Liko finally got her time to shine in a way that felt like the standout of the whole arc. Spinel's ending with Umbreon was some of the greatest, most mature storytelling in the whole anime. Roy and Amethio's moments with their Mega Legends was so hype. Pagogo's farewell with the 6 heroes and the spirit of the OG3 explorers throughout had me welling up. The epilogue showed all the past characters from the time skip arc doing their part to help the world, and that was so heartfelt. I love how Exceed is being used to help the good of mankind, just like Gibeon and Amethio hoped for when they parted ways. And of course, seeing all of our heroes finally getting to enjoy their lives in the world peace they worked so hard to create. That's what they deserve, man, and that's why I'm so happy the next arc is so lighthearted and fun. This was truly the perfect finale for the storyline we've built up to for over 3 years. I can't emphasize that enough. If we ended Pokemon Horizons here, then it would absolutely be in my top 2 Pokemon animes ever. Maybe even my number 1, maybe it would rival Diamond and Pearl. I am slightly worried that being extended for a year after the main storyline ends could mess up how Horizons is perceived as an overall series, since the main storyline, the main character arcs have already ended. But after how peak this climax was, I trust the writers and I trust they'll do our heroes right. They'll make it work, you know? I hope that even with characters like Freed, Coral, Sidian, Amethio, etc. being separated from our heroes, that they will still show up in episodes from time to time. It'd be sad if this was our final goodbye to all of them, you know, but they're also in great places for their own storylines, so I get it if so. I'm not sure how else I can describe my love for this episode and for this finale without sounding like a parrot, especially because this is one of my longest videos ever. I've been recording this voiceover for like probably an hour and a half. My voice is so strained right now. But man, this episode deserves that level of commitment and dedication and voice hurt from me. So yeah, I just want to emphasize again, this was everything. It made me smile, it made me cry, it made me feel everything under the sun. This episode was so hopeful and optimistic while not understating the consequences of what happened and how grave it is. That's a true sign of mature storytelling, and in that manner the staff of Pokémon Horizons should be so incredibly proud. So I guess that's it, man. The end of the storyline we've watched for 3 years. I've made nearly 200 videos about Pokémon Horizons in that time span, dude. That is so wild to me, but what's even more wild is that you guys stuck here by my side the entire time. I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for that, genuinely. I feel so lucky to have built such an incredible community through this series. Like, I thought I was cooked when Ash left the anime, but you guys have built up our channel into something more beautiful and tight-knit than ever, you know? And for that I'm eternally grateful, so thank you all. But of course, you can't get rid of me that easily. I'm still going to be covering the final year of Horizons, going into the Wonder Voyage arc and everything. So let me know your thoughts on the finale of the main storyline of Pokémon Horizons below, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, it'd mean the world. I think this is the longest review video I've ever made, man, which is so wild. Be sure to join our Discord server using the link in the description, and thank you so much to all of my incredible channel members too. That includes Juscadia, Toten, Not Mini, Hope, Shareborn J, Finny, Shiny, everyone else on screen. So on that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!